Imagine this. You're going about your day as usual. Your family is safe and healthy. Work is proceeding as normal, and it's simply a typical day. That is, until you suddenly receive the phone call. This call informs you that one of your loved ones was just struck and killed by an inattentive driver. When most people think of Florida, they envision sandy beaches, palm trees, and Disney World. Little do they know, however, that the state of Florida is home to the top 4 most dangerous cities for pedestrians in the entire United States. According to NBC, Orlando's pedestrian death rate is over 5 times higher than the national average, and this includes other very highly populated cities such as New York or Chicago. In the next few minutes, I will provide some statistics on this dire epidemic, an elaboration on why action should be taken as swiftly as possible, and some potential public road reformation considerations. No one deserves to die or lose a loved one simply because someone wasn't paying attention. Let's change these statistics, both for the 50 million tourists that visit Orlando each year, and for all of the people living their daily lives in the Sunshine State. How many of you know that Orlando is the top most visited city in America? If anyone here has ever visited or thought about visiting Floridian cities such as Orlando or Miami, there are a couple of things that you should probably know before taking a stroll near the public streets. According to NBC, Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville, and Miami rank top in the nation when it comes to automobile to pedestrian imposed injury and fatality rates. According to the Orlando Sentinel, over 850 Central Floridians are struck by cars per year. This means that almost 3 people are hit by cars per day in Orlando alone. The state of Florida actually has its own special memorial marker for occasions such as these, and they are noted by a small, white, round sign adorned with the words, "Drive safely." When a family loses a loved one in a pedestrian or bicyclist accident, they are actually able to contact the state of Florida, who will then proceed to put one of these markers up for free and will leave it there for 1 year. According to NPR, most of Orlando's public road revisions took place between 1960 and 1980, even though Florida's population has been growing rapidly since then. An article on CNN notes that experts foresee the population of Florida actually overtaking New York's place in the top 3 most populated states in the U.S. either this year or next. The same article notes that between 2010 and 2012, Florida's population grew 2.7%, while the national average remained only 1.7%. Little has been done to accommodate this population rise. Speed limits are still dangerously high, even though there are now so many more cars on the road, and road reformation has not been made to compensate for this either. These statistics are alarming, but many people do not truly consider taking action to change them because they have never been personally impacted by the situation. I had this mentality too until about 3 years ago. On July 29, 2011, at approximately 6:00 p.m., my 16-year-old brother was hit and killed by a car while riding his bicycle home from Walgreens. His name was George Peevich, and he was one of the most caring and talented individuals that I have ever known. I'll never forget the accident scene, and my final goodbye to him being only watching the ambulance carry him away. I don't think that when you lose someone like that, it's ever possible to truly recover. The incident happened 3 years ago, and it still affects my family each and every day. The aforementioned statistics are not a recent happening. In fact, Orlando has maintained this notorious reputation for over a decade. As made evident, this is an ongoing problem, and it will only continue to worsen as the population of Florida increases and the tourist numbers rise with every passing year. If more concerned individuals are willing to take a stand for placing more emphasis on public road safety and reformation, we have the chance of preventing so many innocent lives from being lost in the future. These are the lives of someone's parents, children, siblings, and friends. There are so many reasons to seek a solution to this problem, and I believe that with some revision we can truly make Florida's public roads a safer place for pedestrians, bicyclists, and even motorists to travel on. One suggestion would be to lower the speed limits in highly developed and population-dense areas. As a resident of Orlando, I have traveled through so many areas that are simply booming with people and businesses, yet still possess speed limits of over 45 or 50 miles per hour. Lowering the speed limits in these areas will enable drivers to more easily notice oncoming pedestrians. Another suggestion would be to increase fines and penalties for traffic violations and to actually enforce them. Doing so would provide more incentive for drivers to travel safely and legally. I've personally seen on numerous occasions a driver traveling hazardly right past a cop who completely ignores them. Another suggestion would be to make it legal for bicyclists to travel on sidewalks instead of on the road, and to also widen the sidewalks accordingly. It's far easier for a pedestrian to survive a collision with a bicyclist than for a bicyclist to survive a collision with a 3,000-pound automobile. Bicyclists and pedestrians also travel at a much slower rate than cars, consequently enabling them far more time to move over if there is an oncoming person. Unlike many of today's drivers, pedestrians and bicyclists typically watch where they're going when they're traveling. Another suggestion would be to make it illegal to be on one's cell phone while driving. It seems as if texting behind the wheel is becoming an epidemic in the United States. According to USA Today, over 1 in 4 car accidents takes place due to cell phone usage. TextingandDrivingSafely.com notes that 5 seconds is the minimal amount of time that attention is removed from the road when texting, and that texting makes an accident over 23 times more likely to occur. One final suggestion would be to make it illegal to perform a right turn on a red light. I have both seen and experienced on several occasions an individual almost being hit by a car that was trying to turn right on red. Many people speed through these right turns without any concern for crossing pedestrians, even though the pedestrian has the right of way. Suggestions like these mean nothing unless they are implemented, and until we begin seeking a solution, nothing will change. We have the opportunity here to spare countless innocent lives, and this public road safety reform will not only benefit the many pedestrians and bicyclists of Florida, but also the numerous drivers who must live the rest of their life knowing that they may have taken someone else's. Serious changes must be made to Florida's public road system, and every passing second counts in developing this reform. I have spent the last few minutes providing statistics on this overlooked epidemic, an elaboration on why action should be taken immediately, and some possible public road reformation suggestions. These victims are someone's parent, someone's child, someone's sibling, and someone's friend. And these individuals will never again be able to see them, never again have the opportunity to laugh with them or to have a Star Wars marathon with them when they've caught a cold. Such a loss of life leaves an everlasting pit in one's heart, a pit that can be so easily prevented simply by making some small changes. I still think about George every day, and I'm sure that the many other families impacted by these statistics would agree that this is truly a cause worth standing for. Activist Margaret Mead once said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has." Although Florida may have maintained its infamous reputation as the most dangerous state in the U.S. for pedestrians for over 12 years, it doesn't have to remain this way. Let's take a stand for some public road safety improvements. Together, we can change these statistics. Together, we can make the Sunshine State truly shine. Thank you.